You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
It's Wellness Wednesday. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And of course, joining me on this Wellness Wednesday is our regular contributor and commentator, Claudine Cooper. Of course, ClaudineCooper.com. Claudine, it's good to talk to you. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How about you, Mo?
I'm doing well. And, actually, I'm getting kind of sad because summer is winding down. Kids are going back to school. My traffic is getting worse. My stress level's getting higher. What do you recommend?
All of the above are happening in real time, including kids going back to school. As you know, I'm taking my daughter back down to college, and it has been one of those really busy times where people's stress levels do start to go up, but you can manage it through movement. You can manage it through meditation. You can manage it by eating better. How have you been eating, Mo?
I have been eating much, much better. And I'm not saying that just to make myself feel good. I'm saying it because it's a fact. I've been very intentional with my food choices every single meal, every single day. And it's about a process of improvement, not just physical results in the short term.
So I met with a trainer at work, and he gave me some tips. As we get older, because we lose muscle, we could use a little bit more protein. And for a carb lover like myself, it is really difficult to get enough protein because I would rather eat bread all day.
You and me both.
But as I've been more intentional about getting the protein, I have noticed a couple things. My mood has improved, which I didn't really make a correlation between eating carbs and kind of being irritable. But I do think the better your eating habits, the lower your stress levels, the less irritability you may have. And another added byproduct is that I'm building a little more muscle. And as we get older, as you know, all of us, males and females alike, we lose muscle. Meanwhile, my daughter, who, she can run around the block 3 times and do a Pilates class and she looks like $1 million, right? But at the same time, if we adopt those habits at the age that our children are in their 20s and young adults, it'll last them for a lifetime. Don't you agree?
Oh, I absolutely agree. It's just not fair that they don't have to work at it. Of course, they say youth is wasted on the young. We all had the same amount of time in our 20s and 30s, but now we're on the other side of those 20s and 30s and we missed how good we had it. But I want to extract from what you said. You said you're taking your daughter back down to college. And I know that some people may be leaving town. They may be going on a last second vacation. In fact, me and my wife were going on a last second 3-day cruise over the Labor Day weekend. So I know people are getting in their last hurrahs. But I think about people who go on vacation and use that as a time to not get in their exercise or to move away from their diets. How do you recommend navigating all that?
The first thing I want to say is I've heard the cruises have amazing exercise classes. Now, when I was a younger woman, I was recruited by a cruise line asking if I would be willing to teach water aerobics. I didn't even know cruise ships had like a pool or several pools on them, but apparently cruises are a resort on a boat. Am I right?
I've never been. Absolutely right. Yes.
Well, this is the thing. If you plan ahead, for example, you're going on a 3-day cruise. This is a great way to start thinking about it now. You can start to plan, hey, if I did want to take one of the pool aerobics classes, or if I did want to walk around on the cruise ship and get my 10,000 steps, what do I need to pack? So a lot of it has to do with preparation, right, Mo?
Right. I try to be prepared, but sometimes I think, okay, I want to get my 10,000 steps in. Oh, but that buffet looks so good.
Oh, I've heard the buffets on the cruises are second to none. It's definitely a tough one. I don't want you to stay away from enjoyment and relaxation and rest and all of those things. But I also think that there's something to be said for incorporating, I don't know, an exercise class, a little swimming laps, a little walk around the deck. In that case, you don't have to restart when you get back. Now, I'm headed down south to take my daughter to the HBCU that she attends, Tuskegee University. And in that small town, there's not a lot of options as far as working out is concerned. But the hotel always has a small fitness center. So one thing I like to do is I like to queue up a video on YouTube and just follow along with it from the hotel fitness center. 30 minutes, 45 minutes, done. But then that way, when I'm down south and I want to eat that soul food and that comfort food, I don't feel as guilty. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. I just want to know, do they have paved roads in Tuskegee, Alabama?
Not really.
You're in the backwoods, I tell you.
Yeah, it's definitely a small town. She is enjoying her experience, though, and that's all I can say. That's all I can hope for.
I wonder, not to get in your business, but in a general sense, how much do your children observe or take from you? Or is it just mom being mom and they disregard some of the tips you may try to pass on to them?
Oh, please. Have you ever heard that preachers' kids are the wildest and cops' kids always commit the crimes? Yeah. No, my kids really disregard a lot of the things that I say, but every now and then I see a glimmer of hope. For example, my son, he was telling me that he was working out with a friend. So I said, well, what were you guys doing exactly? And he said they went to the park and they were doing sprints. And I said, oh my goodness, was it fun? And he looked at me and he said, Mom, I love working out, okay? And that just a small little thing. He won't work out with me. Mm-hmm. He's not coming to my classes. But when it comes to doing his own thing, he said, I love working out. That is enough for me. You know, train a child up, Mo.
Yes. And a lot of times you can be an example that they may not verbalize, but they are still watching you. And they will still emulate much of what they see, good and bad, but they're not going to give you that credit. I know that. They're just not, because you're not cool enough to give that credit to.
I get the eye rolls. I get the, oh, here she goes again, you know, but it's all good.
If you're just tuning in, I'm speaking with Claudine Cooper. Of course, go to ClaudineCooper.com for more information about her and fitness tips and how you can catch up with her at Iconics Fitness in Inglewood. We'll have more with Claudine Cooper in just a moment.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
It's Wellness Wednesday on Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. I'm continuing to speak with our regular commentator, Claudine Cooper. Of course, ClaudineCooper.com. And Claudine, I don't usually have the opportunity, and I usually try to be respectful of boundaries, but I haven't asked you about your kids, but you open up the conversation talking about how you're getting ready to go down south to put your daughter back in school, which is admirable in and of itself. But then it led to a wider conversation about fitness and generational lessons and the things that you try to pass on to kids. And we all know that kids are more likely to listen to other people than they are their own parents, especially when it comes to advice. Has that been your experience?
Well, you know, to be honest with you, Mo, I lean on this quote. It says, children will do what you do, not do what you say. And I think about that in so many different aspects, not necessarily just in the health and wellness field, but in the aspects of how are we showing up for our children in our day-to-day interactions with other human beings. Now, since the gym has opened, we've been open for 2 months now. I have really had my customer service skills tested on a whole nother level.
What do you mean, Claudine? What do you mean?
I'll tell you, people are peopling. If I can say it like that and you can catch my drift, basically what I'm saying is the way people are treating one another. Now, granted, lots of great experiences, a lot of people enjoying the gym, but I am noticing that we're a little bit out of practice in how we handle one another. And maybe you see it in road rage incidents. Maybe you see it in the market when you're in line. It's just an interesting dynamic that I've noticed. And because I've been working in the gyms for so long, I do have a starting point in my data research. I noticed that it's changed and I can't really put my finger on what it is. But one thing I try to emulate for my children is how to handle people, how to speak to people. When you go to restaurants, how do you treat the server? When you're in a gym and you walk in and you see someone at the front desk, how do you treat that person? And so these are examples of modeling behavior that I want my children to see from me. And it's not just in the way I eat or the way I exercise, but it's also in the way that I handle my fellow human being. Do you get what I'm saying, Mo?
I get what you're saying, and it opens the door to a really, really big conversation, because I personally have loathed how younger generations have missed out on basic socialization and etiquette skills as far as how you greet someone, how you speak to someone. You can't blame it all on the pandemic. I think it's bigger than just the pandemic. I think they've been buried in their phones for so long, they forget how to interact with people on a human level. And I think that, to bring it back to fitness, I think that impacts our emotional health in many ways.
So it does. And we've talked about this several times on the show. You know, sitting on your phone for 8 to 10 to 12 to 15 hours a day, or on your iPad or on your laptop, it's for any of us. I don't like to polarize the conversation to this being just about the younger generation, because now that I've been in the gym and I've been in hand-to-hand communication with customers, I'm noticing it's all ages. It's all genders. It's all ethnicities. It's all spiritual believers. It's everyone. A lot of people are out of practice on treating others the way that they would want to be treated. And maybe it's bigger than the pandemic. Maybe it's bigger than social media, but I definitely think that there is a correlation between isolation, between being focused on a screen all day and being able to say what you want behind that screen.
Yes.
And then coming out. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, since we're on this subject, I did notice on your social media that you are having a block party right now.
Oh, yes.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about it?
It's very simple. I try to have clear delineations and parameters between my personal life and professional life. And part of that is, even though you may encounter me on social media, do not try to speak to me or come at me in a way that you would not even think of in person. In other words, whatever you say online to me, I want you to be sure that you would say it the exact same thing, the exact same way to me in person, knowing that if you do it in person, there probably would be a different response and there might be some consequences. I think we've gotten to a point where people take too many liberties because they're online. It's like, you would never, not you, but a person would never try to speak to me in a certain type of way with all these insults and racial epithets. It's like, you would never do that. But under the cover of anonymity or, you know, lack of proximity, people try to speak in a way that is just impolite, and I would say ill-advised. Let me put it that way. And so I let people know, I will block people in a heartbeat. If you can't say what you need to say without it being insulting or demeaning, you know, I'm all for snark. You know, I'm sarcastic. But if you come at me sideways, block. I'm not even having the conversation with you. Why? To this conversation, I'm protecting my own emotional peace.
You know, we could go down this rabbit hole all night long, Mo, but I will say this. I definitely see a consistency between the amount of courage people have had online to the way they're speaking to people in person. It's almost like they still feel like they come off of that screen and they can talk to you in person with the same amount of bravery and courage. I mean, I'm not a martial artist like you, but I've had my day. Like, you may not want to come to me with that type of energy, not knowing exactly how I'm going to receive it. But at the same time, going back to the behavior I want to model for my children, there was a time in my young life where my response to this kind of what I consider to be disrespect would have been met with some consequences that I would not meet it with today. I keep saying that it is right now in this time in my life when I have been given the opportunity to go in front of customers in a luxury fitness facility in my town where I live And I have been able to do it with grace, but it would not have been this same exact way had it happened many years ago. You get what I'm saying?
I get exactly what you're saying. And I just put it another way. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. And they're varying levels of consequences. And I'm not talking about physical consequences. You know, if you speak to someone like that the wrong way, you could lose your job. You could lose your status. You could lose your place. You could lose an opportunity. It's not just about if you come at me sideways I'm going to meet you with the same energy. No, it's just a function of you're doing yourself a disservice. I'm saying that I will not allow it or tolerate it, but the person who's perpetrating it, you're not helping yourself. And I think there are far too many people here who don't understand that type of behavior not only has no place in the real world, in IRL, in real life, and there will be consequences for that, which will negatively impact you.
Right. And when I show my children what it looks like to handle people with care, even when those same people have not handled me with care, I believe I'm displaying a very valuable lesson that will take them far in the world. Just like exercise, just like eating lots of fruits and vegetables, I feel like they can take away from that whatever they will.
She is Claudine Cooper, ClaudineCooper.com. I love how we can have these in-depth conversations about not only fitness, but life in general. Have a very safe trip down south, and we'll see you on the other side.
Yes, we will. Thank you so much for having me.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Actually, I'm pretty excited. Football season is back upon us. When I say football season, I'm talking college and pro. Lifelong Rams fan, professional, lifelong USC Trojans fan, but it's not Pac-12 anymore. It's Big Ten, as USC and UCLA and others have moved to the Big Ten. It just feels weird, but that's another discussion for another day. But I came across this information talking about the number of players from California who go on to the NFL. We hear about college players going to the NFL, but what about people who from cities right around you and me in both Northern and Southern California? Did you know that Sacramento and Long Beach, at least relative to California, they produce they've produced the most current NFL players from a single city. Sacramento has 12 players in the NFL right now, and Long Beach has 12 as well. But you may think, well, is that a lot? Actually, it isn't, because none of the California cities are in the top 10 as far as cities which produce NFL talent. If you go by state, I'm going to just go ahead and let you know right now, California is in the top 10. If you were listening to the first segment, you know where we are in the top 10. But real quickly, let me see. Hey, Stefan, do you follow college or professional football? I know you're somewhat an almost never sports fan, so I'll take that as a no.
No.
Well, if you follow sports, you know that in terms of football, California usually does very well as far as developing talent. Now, I'm a little bit older than you. When I was growing up, you had these great football rivalries like Banning and Carson. And now in more recent years, you have schools like Mater Dei, and they're like football factories. They go on to those schools, and a good number of them go on to become pros. But still, California is not one of the biggest football factory producing states around. So if you look at the top 10 states with the most current NFL players, as we're on the precipice of not only NFL season, but college season, coming in at number 10 as far as the states with the most current NFL players. Alabama, Keith Jackson, Fumble Roske. Stefan, do you even know who Keith Jackson was?
Nope.
Oh, my goodness. He's one of the greatest college football announcers to have ever lived. Ever. Okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to just go to YouTube and find a Keith Jackson commentary or something, announcement, when he was calling a football game so you can tell. I just wasted one of my best impressions. You don't even know who that was. Coming in at number 9, as far as the top 10 states with the most current NFL players. Illinois. Number 8. Michigan. So I guess, Midwest, that's where they start churning them out. Number 7. Ohio. Number 6. Louisiana. Coming in at number 5. North Carolina. And that actually surprised me because North Carolina geographically is not a big state. College-wise, it's not very big when it comes to football. I mean, yeah, they play football in the ACC, but they don't have a lot of powerhouses coming out of North Carolina. Number 4. Georgia. No surprise there. In fact, I thought that Georgia would have been ranked higher on this list. Number 3. California. That's where we landed. And I thought we would be higher, but no. Coming in at number 2, and this is just for Mark Runner. Your favorite state, Florida.
Who doesn't love Florida?
Yeah. Florida's always at the top of these lists. It's a perfect state.
Can't wait to reach the age where I can move there. Really excited about it.
The only thing about Florida, we were talking about this because it's one of the best, it was at the top of the list for best retirement states. I just don't like humidity. If they could just have it a cooler summers with no humidity, then Florida would be great.
No, look, you're constantly walking around with a sheen on you. Every time I watch Dexter, which is set in Florida, I wondered how they tolerated that.
Oh, it's great to visit. I mean, I love different cities in Florida, but to imagine living there year round as a retiree, older, more sensitive to the extremes in climate, I don't know how people do it. Seriously, and it gets cold there too. You may not get snow, but it gets cold there,
and it's going to get wetter there soon too.
Well, that's true, especially when it falls in the ocean.
Uh-huh.
And coming in at number 1 as far as the top ranked state with the most current NFL players. Texas. That's it? Nothing? You got nothing for me? I forgot. You're not football fans. You don't care anything about football. Mark is a wrestling fan. Stefan is a nothing fan. Tawala's a nothing fan. And, and joining me in the studio, Tiffany Hobbs.
I'm a football fan. And
no,
you went to USC.
You went to USC, but you're not a football fan.
I'm a football fan. I was chiming in off mic. Mm-hmm. I know my football.
All right. Where did the Rams play before?
St. Louis.
I was going to say before L.A.
St. Louis.
No.
Right?
No. They came back to L.A.
Down in San Diego County.
No.
Down there,
no,
right?
No. Before the Rams were the L.A. Rams, they came from another city in a different state.
It's not St. Louis? I'm not getting that right?
Okay. The Rams went to St. Louis in the late 1990s.
Yeah, so okay, technically.
I'm talking about before they originally came to Los Angeles in like the 1960s.
Oh, so you're moving the goalpost.
No, I said, where did they
play? So to speak.
Where did the Rams play prior to coming to Los Angeles?
Anyone?
Is this like we're all a disappointing dad like that Succession show?
See, that's what I'm saying. Come on. Football fans know this.
I'm not a Rams fan.
Okay, it's Cleveland. They played in Cleveland from 1936 to 1945.
Who would know that?
Football fans know that. Rams fans know that.
It's like a very obscure reference.
Okay, all right. Where did the Lakers play before coming to L.A.?
That would be in Minneapolis.
Right. Now, how did you know that?
I'm not a Laker fan either. But
all right, then that's my point.
I think Laker fans are a lot louder than Rams fans with their history.
No, just because the Lakers have won more. That's
Perhaps. Perhaps. I'm a Clipper fan.
Oh,
So-
never mind. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere. The iHeartRadio app. That explains everything. You and Michael Crozier.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Janet Jackson. We have a story about her in just a second, but I have to let you know, KFI is sending you and a friend to Las Vegas for the 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, September 20th and 21st at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. I'm talking about 2 nights, 1 stage. You'll see live performances by Dua Lipa, Doja Cat, Gwen Stefani, Keith Urban, and more. You can buy your tickets right now at AXS.com. Get them before they sell out, because they will. Keep on listening to KFI for your chance to win 2 tickets to both nights of the festival, a 2-night hotel stay at an MGM Resorts destination, and a $200 gas card to get you there and back. Show off your poolside only with MGM Rewards. Visit MGMRewards.com for details. Janet Jackson, somebody I work with on the periphery in promotions when I was working at Virgin Records back in the late 90s. I had the chance to work what was the Velvet Rope Tour. That song you heard at the beginning was from the Velvet Rope album, one of her most popular albums ever. I provided tour support. In other words, when she was in L.A., I went with her to the various radio stations where they'd meet with programmers. In fact, I went to Tawala Station and took pictures of everyone. I said to say, she's one of the nicest people you ever meet. I can't say that about a lot of people, but Janet is one of those people. But I would never allege to know her. I can just say I've been around her on a few occasions, and you can get a sense of what a person is really like. And she's soft-spoken. She's very much to herself, but she'll talk to you, but she doesn't have a lot to say. Very kind. But after all these years, I'm still finding out things about her. As someone who worked in the industry, someone who knows a little bit about music history, I did not know that Janet Jackson, and by extension, the Jacksons, were related to Stevie Wonder, Tracy Chapman, and Samuel L. Jackson. And it came out in an interview with the BBC just days ago.
Stevie Wonder. Now, someone told me this earlier. Are you related to Stevie?
He's our cousin.
How have I gone that long in life?
Not a lot of people know that. He's our cousin on my mother's side.
That's blown my mind.
So is Tracy Chapman.
Oh, whoa. Hang on. Can we go through the family tree again?
So is Samuel Jackson.
So Stevie is what to you?
My cousin.
Tracy Chapman.
Cousin.
Samuel Jackson.
He would be a cousin too. I mean, he's not my brother.
Right, yeah, fine.
But yes.
I never knew.
Could you imagine a family reunion and a cookout? You have people sitting around telling family stories, oral history. You have the Jacksons. That's special all by itself. You have Tracy Chapman, who's come back into prominence in recent years. She's not a recluse, but you don't see a lot of her. And then you have Samuel L. Jackson walk in the room.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time.
That would be one hell of a party.
I want that at a party.
Wait, and then you could have some music where Janet would cut a record with Tracy Chapman and Stevie Wonder. That would be like the Radio Clean version. And then you have Samuel L. Jackson do the remix, dirty version.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time.
How has somebody not already done that?
I don't know. I would pay good money to have Samuel L. Jackson guest appearance on a Janet Jackson record written by Stevie Wonder, and then Tracy Chapman playing a little guitar.
Because let's be honest, there is a musicality to the expert swearing we just heard.
Oh, no, there's a cadence.
Yeah.
And there's a skill in the delivery. Everyone has cussed, but no one is as proficient as Samuel L. Jackson.
He's the
Nobody.
master. Yeah.
I can't think of anyone who's even in his league. I'm being real serious.
Only the drill instructor in Full Metal Jacket.
But see, that's a limited capacity. You could put Samuel L. Jackson in any movie, and he can cuss about any variety of subjects.
Oh, yeah. You got Snakes on a Plane in there?
No, but Stefan will have it. We'll find it. I am sick of these Mickey Ficky snakes on this Mickey Ficky plane.
Yeah, that just lends itself to music. Come on.
I was thinking too, it makes sense now knowing that Stevie Wonder is one of their cousins, given that Stevie and Michael have both done backgrounds on each other's records in history. And you kind of wonder, like, where'd that come from? But now it makes even more sense.
And I wonder, I mean, of course they knew, but then you go back to the early days of Motown. It's like, yeah, you would probably tap family members. You would probably, you know, people in your friend and family circle. But it's something that you would think, given the expansive nature of the internet today, is something like you thought that most people would know. But even Janet did say it's like not a lot of people know that.
Stevie Wonder. Now, someone told me this earlier. Are you related to Stevie?
He's our cousin.
How have I gone that long in life?
Not a lot of people know that.
Not a lot of people know that, including me. It's like, Janet, we were buddies. Like, why didn't you tell me? We used to hang out.
She was holding out on you.
You spent a lot of time together. You didn't tell me that you and Samuel L. Jackson were hanging out?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time.
There is a poetic beauty in the rhythm, cadence, and flow of those MFs.
If she was somehow also related to Blowfly and Rudy Ray Moore.
Look, it only took us 40 years to figure this out. So, you know, look, who knows? In the next interview, she may start talking about way down in the jungle deep. Only Rudy Ray.
Snakes out of the cockpit. Yeah, clear the snakes out of the cockpit, Enough is enough! I have had it with these monkey fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane. Everybody strap in. I'm about to open some freaking windows.
Yeah, all I know is the cussing version, much more powerful. Much more powerful. Hey, I was asking for Keith Jackson earlier. This is for your personal edification. Did you find any Keith Jackson?
I found some, yeah.
Okay, all right, pull it up. Can you just pull up some Keith Jackson real quick?
Let me see. I think, I got rid of it because we were going to break.
Wait, just no excuse.
And some Jackson Pollock after you're done with that.
Right. And then Jackson Brown.
Yeah, Andrew Jackson, if you have any of that. Trail of Tears, one of his hits.
No? Oh, wow.
Gosh.
Wow, blankets, anyone?
Deep cut.
KFI AM 640, we're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
No need to keep hitting refresh. We got this. KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere.